Welcome, folks. Here we are. It's that great time of the year. We're going to talk summer right here, right now, because Batavia Downs lineup is out. It's been out. We want to go over it with everybody. And who am I going to bring in to talk about the Batavia Downs? None other than there he is, Mr. Tom Jennings. Welcome.
I believe I'm probably much closer to Batavia Downs than you are, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I live in
Yes.
Oakfield, New York. It's an 8 minute drive. In fact, I was just there recently with my wife and my sister and my son. We all went to a Valentine's Day gala there.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, this lineup here this year at the Batavia Downs, definitely different than the last few years. Finally, we've got I think a more solid lineup. But real quick. I'll introduce the lineup to you, and then we'll talk about each artist here. So it's gonna kick off on June the 20th with Queensryche, who will be making, I believe, their third appearance here
Mm.
at the Batavia Downs. June 27th, the Almond Betts Band is coming to town. We're going to skip a week for the holiday, and July 11th, we're going to have Almost Queen. July the 18th, we're going to have The Machine, making probably their 3000th appearance there. Seems like they're always there. July 25th, the Little River Band with Ambrosia as a special guest. Nice seeing a nice little double bill for once. August the 1st, Rochester's own Lou Graham will be coming to town. August the 8th, the Commodores. And to close out the season, we've got Kansas making their first appearance at the Downs. What do you think of that lineup, Mr. Tom Jennings?
I mean, it kind of harkens back to the old, Lockport and North Tonawanda concert days. I mean, this is a soft ticket. It's not a super expensive ticket, so it's so much. Just before we got on, for instance, I was looking at George Strait tickets at Highmark Stadium, and I'll let you guess just how much you think a front row George Strait ticket costs.
Well, front row, who knows? I mean, they always offer those at pretty expensive rates, but probably 500 at least. That's minimal.
Try $3,600,
And that's with no
and
perks.
yeah, it's just
That's
it's
just
like a
for the
front row.
ticket
I mean, it's
only.
it's a pre-sale. Yeah, it's a pre-sale ticket. It's a pre-sale front row ticket. This is Ticketmaster now that's doing this. This isn't even StubHub. $600 on the floor. The side seats or the aisle seats and stuff on the side are like 600. It's just insane what has happened to the cost of concert tickets. And
Yeah, if
there's a
you want,
reason for that. Do you know what that reason is?
well, if you want the good seats, that's you're going to pay the price for it is number one.
$3,000 though. Come on. I mean, that's for $3,000 you can buy every single record they've ever recorded and a really nice stereo system to play on and enjoy it all you want. But yeah, it's just the nature of the live music industry. I mean, they don't have the revenue from other sources like record sales, and I mean, I'm sure they still get licensing money and things like that. But hey, as long as you people keep paying it, them ticket prices is going to go up. But here we have a nice little group of shows at Batavia Downs that are some top level artists in terms of what you're paying for. I think if nothing else, the first thing we gotta just say is this is a bargain. Every one of these shows is an absolute bargain for today's market.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's good to see them focus more on some of the bands that in the last couple of years they've been playing a lot more a lot more of the tribute acts that were
Right.
coming. And we've only got two, and that's not bad this year.
I have a definite opinion when it comes to tribute acts, and I feel like it's fair game if the main act doesn't tour anymore. I feel less gross about it. You know what I mean? Like a Fleetwood Mac tribute. Fleetwood Mac really doesn't tour anymore. The Beatles, obviously, Pink Floyd, but like Styx, I mean, Styx should have a tribute act.
All right, so let's go through each show and get your take on each artist here. We'll
Hmm.
talk Queensryche, the opening band here, kicking things off on June the 20th.
I haven't seen them with Todd Latore. It's been that long. I've seen Jeff Tate solo. I've seen him with Jeff Tate, and I've seen video of Todd. I think that Todd, the general consensus is that he has a stronger voice at this stage of his career than Jeff did by the time he left Queensryche. I mean, it's just unfortunate that people age or whatever. But I mean, in terms of just a band and their material, I've always really liked Queensryche. I think they're a very creative band. They kind of crossed over the progressive rock and metal worlds in a way that made sense. So I think that's if you're a Queensryche fan, it's going to be a great show. And they have what, two original members left right now?
Yep, just
Yeah,
Michael Wilton and Eddie Jackson, the bass player.
yeah.
So yeah, it'll be good show there to kick things off at the Downs, no doubt.
Have you
And
seen Todd Latore before?
oh yeah, plenty of times.
Yeah. So what's your opinion of him compared
He
to
does
Jeff
a
Tate?
really good job. It's like
Yeah.
if you can't have Jeff Tate, Todd Latore is no slouch, no doubt.
Yeah.
You're still seeing the band, playing the songs and sounding just as good. I can't complain. I really like this band, and I guess in essence, you get to see with Tate still touring out there. You get two versions, more of a chance to see
Yeah.
the songs out there in a live setting, which a lot of bands, like you said, aren't even around at like Fleetwood Mac anymore to actually do it. At least there's still two qualified bands out there that can pull it off.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Almond Bets coming on June the 27th. I feel this is a
Hmm.
very awesome show to add in here for this. What's your take on this one?
I've interviewed, I've met Devin Allman, just met him at a bar in downtown Buffalo. If any, and there's probably people that are, well, I assume people would be from the area because it's Batavia down. So it was over by the old Pink and that other bar that just recently burned down, whose name escapes me. But it may have even been the one that just burned down. As a matter of fact, that I met him at. But he seems like a really down to earth guy. And they have a couple of different configurations. They have like the Almond Bets, Almond Brothers experience, where they're playing mostly Almond Brothers material. But this particular show, they should be doing some Almond Brothers songs, but they'll be doing some of their originals as well. I think it's mostly their originals, and it really comes down to the band's pedigree, heritage, whatever you want to call it. These guys, I mean, it's Allman Brothers, and I think that they've got one other member who's, I think Barry Oakley Jr. is also in it. So they've got three offspring of the Almonds, and Devin. I always felt like Devin looks more like Dwayne Allman than he did his father, Greg Allman, and but Dwayne Betts looks. I mean, he looks like his dad. But both great players. I mean, if you like Southern rock, Allman Brothers, Blackberry Smoke, that kind of music, you're Leonard Skinner. I mean, you're gonna love this show.
Yeah, definitely. I've never gotten a chance to see these guys yet, but I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm definitely think this is going to be probably the dark horse show over at Batavia Downs of the year because I kind of know what to expect from everybody else on the lineup, but I'm never
Yeah.
not having not seen Almond Bets. Can't wait to do so. All right,
Yeah, I think
so
the only challenge with a band like that is that since you are at Batavia Downs, people are kind of used to cover bands and tribute bands or even bands with a deep catalog of just hits. They're going to expect this to be an Allman Brothers show, but it won't be. So, but either way, stylistically, the music is close enough. I don't think anybody's going to gripe. And if you do, it's because you didn't watch this particular program, right?
exactly. All right, so that's going to take us to July 11th, the week after the 4th, because the 4th does actually fall on a Friday for once. We're going to talk Almost Queen here.
Almost.
Not quite.
No, I mean, as a band, I love Queen. See, Freddie Mercury's passed away. I mean, they still tour with two of the original members and that guy from The Voice. What's his name? Adam something?
Adam Lambert. Yep.
Adam Lambert. Yes. But I mean, I've seen videos of these guys. They look like they do a pretty decent job. I mean, the challenge with a band like Queen is that they just had a very they're very studio heavy. You know, I mean, they did a lot of things in the studio. The Queen Live Killers is actually one of my favorite live albums. But I remember as a kid, the first time I heard it, I was sort of like, "Oh, this doesn't sound like the original versions." You know, they open up with like this rockin' version of "We Will Rock You" that
Hmm.
wasn't the one with the other stuff. And of course, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody, you have to pump in parts of it for the that big chorus in the middle and everything like that. So I mean, it's a challenging catalog to work with. These guys have been around for a while. I think they've been at the Downs before, and if they've been at the Downs before and they're coming back, that's all good, right?
Yep. All right, and then this next band on July the 18th has definitely been at the Downs before. They played the area many, many times. We're talking the Machine.
Yeah, the one leader there, he passed away not too long ago. These guys originate from Long Island, and they used to close the art park Tuesdays in the Park season,
Hmm.
and they did it for years. I want to say it was 6 or 7 years in a row. They'd come in with this laser show, kind of an old school, you know, just the green lasers that would be behind you and everything. But their approach to the Floyd catalog, which I assume is the same, is different than like these the Brit Floyd or the Australian Pink Floyd project, which are just really these note for note renditions. And the Machine, you know, they tend to change up their sets and they have a little bit more of a improvisational approach. So it's like, you know, Grateful Dead meets Pink Floyd in a way, which makes sense because you know you got that. I mean, I know the Dead have their origins from San Francisco, but they certainly had a big presence in Long Island. I mean, Long Island always embraced a lot of that sort of improvisational jam band music. So an interesting band. And again, you know, you got to go there with those types of expectations. This isn't going to be one of those ones where you know those other Pink Floyd tribute bands. I mean, they do a nice job, but it to me it's almost a little too nice. I mean, it's like listening to the record. What I do like about the Machine is that they're a live band. You know, you're actually going to see a live show.
Yeah. All right, and this will take us to July the 25th with the Little River Band with special guest Ambrosia.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean this could be called the Yacht Rock Cruise, right? These are two yacht rock bands, both with I think Little River Band's got a little bit more robust of a selection of hits to draw from than Ambrosia, but no real original members to speak of in either one of these particular bands. So for all intents and purposes, they're tribute acts. I mean, I think that Little River Band's got somebody that was there, the guy that would sing lead vocals on The Night Owl, which is a great song, by the way. But I don't think they have anybody else. And then Ambrosia's main member was a guy named David Pack, and he's long since departed them as well. You seen
Yeah,
either one of these guys in recent years?
I seen the Little River Band. I believe it was New Year's Eve at the Bears
Yeah,
Den, maybe about 10 years ago or so. Yeah, Wayne Nelson's the one that's been there since
Wayne Nelson. Yep,
1980. Yeah,
yep,
so
yeah.
yeah, he's still
Australia, right? It was a Little River Band.
Little River Band, Australia,
I think so.
Melbourne. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just thinking. Just think. Australia, ACDC, and Little River Band.
And
I
then
feel
they
like
get,
there's somebody else I'm forgetting from Australia, but that would be an interesting double bill, wouldn't it?
yeah. So a little bit of the added the guest is adding Ambrosia, who had some hits with it, which will be good to see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good double bill. You know, I don't think either band hasn't played there before. And a Little River Band, the last I believe they did a 2 night set over in the Riviera, so they must have sold pretty good to be able to draw 2 nights at the Riviera. So it should be a pretty well attended show, I would guess.
Yeah, you know, it at the end of the day, it's all about being able to relive your youth or a period of, you know, even if you weren't old enough to be around when these bands were first around, just having a bunch of songs that you can sing along to and I mean, between these two bands, there's nothing that they've ever done that's ever been offensive. It's all just pure ear candy. You're gonna hear a lot of songs that you know, and if it's one of those summer nights where the weather is nice and you're sitting back and with your partner and having a glass of wine, listening to these two bands, it's all gonna be good. It's gonna be a good night for you.
Yeah, speaking of a good night, it's going to be a great night, but probably a very emotional night on August the 1st when Lou Gramm hits town for, I guess it's being billed as his final concert.
Well, I'll show you. I pulled some Lou Gramm records that I got here. A
Hmm.
couple. I mean, we know he was with Foreigner. Love this record, Ready or Not. I think Nils Lofgren or somebody famous is on
Yeah,
here.
Nils is on there, most of the
Yeah,
tracks, 9 of the 10. Yep,
yeah. Here's here's a little deeper piece from his catalog. Remember these guys?
Black Sheep.
Yeah. I don't even remember where I ran across this. It wasn't in the area. You try to buy this record near where he lives in Rochester, and it's some absurd price. But I got this for like $4 within the last couple of years.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it's hard to say with Lou whether this will be his last appearance in the area. Now, that being said, I mean, we're used to hearing these final shows, final tours, blah blah blah. George Strait. I mean, I saw him in Buffalo 8 or 9 years ago. That was his final concert tour, and here he is coming back. And but then I guess then again, we saw this guy named Rick Emmett at Triumph, and he played at Batavia Downs and said his last appearance in the area was in the United States was going to be at a little place called the Riviera Theater. And I don't know, 6, 7 years later, he ain't played there. So the thing is, if you haven't seen Lou before, and he says that this is your last chance to see him, you
Better
take the
be there.
gamble.
Yeah.
You're taking the gamble. I mean, if you don't see him, you may never get the chance to see him again. And he's got a great catalog. I mean, he'll do a lot of Foreigner stuff, and then you'll sneak in, Ready or Not and Midnight Blue, which is a great song. I always wish he would do Just Between You and Me. I think that's one of my favorite solo songs by him as well. But yeah, just a deep catalog of hits. And when you're in the area that you grew up in, he's going to have family and friends at the show, so it'll be a little bit more emotional. He's going to put a little more behind it. So I would think this one's going to sell out.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it already has, to be honest with you.
I haven't heard anything yet. We'll see. We'll have to touch base with
Yeah,
Ryan and find out for sure.
yeah,
All right, so that's Lou Gramm coming, and August the 8th, we are going to see the Commodores come. First
yes, the
time.
Commodores. Now, now, do you think I have a Commodores album nearby?
Yeah, probably not. Oh, he does.
Look at that.
Wow.
I know, Chris. Look at these. Easy, Brick House, and Zoom. I don't know the song Zoom, but this was a gift from a friend recently. By day I'm a school teacher, and a guy needed an individualized education plan written and some help with it. So I helped write a student's IEP, and he gave me a couple of records, and this was one of them. But yeah, so Twin Fair, it's got still got the shrink wrap on it and all that other stuff. But
Oh, wow.
fun band. I mean, Lionel Richie was their primary member. I think they have one original member from back in the day, but
Yeah, it looks
it
like
goes back
Will.
to what we said about Ambrosia and Little River Band. I mean, you're going to hear a bunch of songs that you really like, and I think people are this is going to be one of those ones that you're dancing and just really getting into. I mean, what a groovy band, for lack of a better term. I think that's the proper term anyway. They groove, right?
Yeah, to touch base on what you just said there. William Wack King, the trumpet, guitar, keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
vocal player, he's still there since 1968. Uh,
Nice.
we got Walter Orange, vocals and drums from 1972 to the present, and James Dean J.D. Nicholas, he goes by. Vocals 1984 to the present. So he basically took over when Lionel left, and those guys are still there. So that's cool. You're seeing, a good, and they made a lot of albums after Lionel left too, and
Right.
some of
Yeah.
them charted very finely. So it's you're seeing the real deal here. That's minus Richie, of course. Lionel Richie won't be
Yeah.
there, but other than that, you're getting a great band, no doubt.
Yeah, he was a pretty small part of their history in actuality, but there's Here's a trivia question for you. I've seen a Commodore song performed within the last, I think within the last 5 years by a pretty notable classic rock artist who included a cover version of the Commodores on one of his more recent records. Any clue?
No.
Nothing?
Nope.
Let's see. You want initials or you want a hint or a song other song title?
Probably not going to know it because I don't really know the Commodore's catalog too well.
What if I said this artist is full of BS because those are his initials?
No clue.
And if he was at work, he'd be the boss.
Springsteen?
Yeah, Springsteen.
What song did he do?
Night Shift, the tribute to Marvin Gaye. And he's performed it, I think, on pretty much every show for the last 2 or 3 years. Did a cover version of it. Now, if
Oh.
there's any Springsteen fans out there watching, I'm just going to say it. I don't like his version that much. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the
Well, you were
Commodore's version.
advertising it here. I thought it meant something to you. Jeez.
Yeah, to me, it was just kind of a weird cover for
Mhm.
Springsteen. And when the song first came out, I'm a big Marvin Gaye fan. As you know, I'm a big Todd Rundgren fan. You know, to get all those Philly connections and everything, but just that kind of Philly soul. And Todd used to do some
Mhm.
Marvin Gaye covers, and that's how I found it. But the Night Shift is just this wonderful tribute to Marvin Gaye. And I assume that's why Springsteen is doing it. He just doesn't, it just doesn't suit his style, his vocal style, or I don't know. But he does it and he performs it live a lot. And there's somebody out there going, "Are you kidding me? It's amazing." But no, the Commodore's version is 1,000 times better.
Mm.
Maybe even a million times better. You give it a listen when you're done.
All right, so what we got here is one more show to close out the season at the Downs. They always seem to close it out in mid-August. I have always meant to ask why, because you could easily fit two more shows in there, to for the seat before summer
Mhm.
ends. I don't know why they always end it early. I gotta ask Ryan about that. But the band that's gonna make their first appearance here, and what a choice! I thought this was great to bring these guys in. We're talking Kansas on August the 15th.
Yeah, Kansas. I got a Kansas album close by. Kansas. Do you know this one?
Yeah.
So here's the question. How many of the current members of Kansas are on this record?
How many current members?
Yeah.
That's a tough choice because I think just maybe Mr. Williams, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably it too.
Because Phil, I don't know. I think Phil's still not back with them yet.
Yeah, their drummer has been out. So this is Phil, Dave Hope on bass, Kerry Livgren, he's gone, Robbie Steinhardt, no, Steve Walsh, and Rich Williams. Yeah, Rich Williams is kind of the last holdout. That being said, they've done it. They've done two albums with Ronnie Platt on lead vocals that are outstanding records. He's a very strong vocalist.
Yeah.
I think that Steve Walsh near the end of his career definitely struggled vocally. He wasn't, he was having some problems with phrasings and things like that. So Platt was a great replacement, sort of revitalized the band for a while. But it's been amazing the level of lineup changes that they've had. But it's like anything, if you're a classic rock band or whatever, an employer, people change. The key is to make sure you're bringing in people that can do the job. And Kansas is actually, I think, doing better now than they were back in the day when they were still touring with Steve Walsh. It seems like they're playing to some bigger audiences. I mean, I remember seeing them as annually up at North Tonawanda and Lockport.
Yeah, and they played Art Park before too. So they played Shays, I think, within the last 5 years. So
I
they
don't
gotten
remember
around.
Kansas at Art Park. Kansas was at Art Park? Huh.
Yeah. It was like
Uh,
the last year before they started charging, I believe.
yeah. I mean, I'll trust you. I don't remember it.
Yeah. They were there. I went there. That was a great show. Yeah.
I just remember interviewing Rich Williams 3 times, and he told me the same story the first 2 times about how he discovered or came up with that opening part of Dust in the Wind. And then he started to tell me the story a third time, and I said, "Rich, no offense, but you've already told me the story twice. Is there anything else you got?
You probably put him.
I've never said that to another artist, but it was just like,
You
it's
didn't
like,
want to hear the story again.
well, and he gave it to everybody, but and it's not because it's not a great story. And I think that the thing is that these artists don't remember who they speak to. I mean, I don't expect people to remember, oh, Tom Jennings from Our Gazette, I talked to you 5 years ago, didn't I? But
Well, Lawrence
you know,
Lawrence Gowan would remember because he keeps a note.
yeah, he does. He told me. Yeah, and Rick Wakeman too. Rick Wakeman told me that he has a thing that where he puts whether he likes the interview or not. And the one time he talked to me, he goes, "Well, I know I like you because I have a note here saying that it was a great interview." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. That's the compliment." But
Yep.
yeah, but anyhow, yeah, this is a great series in terms of being geared towards people that really like classic rock, 90s, 70s, and obviously more heavily based on 70s artists. I mean, Queensryche, I think, would be considered more of an 80s artist.
Hmm.
But yeah, 70s. If you're a guy my age, born in 66, I think anybody born from like 66 to 76, this is you're looking at a pretty good series for you.
Right in your wheelhouse. Yep.
Right in your wheelhouse. Get you back to them high school days, easy like
Mhm.
Sunday morning, with that girl that you met in middle school and were too afraid to go up and ask her to dance.
Yeah, I
And
mean the
then
Downs.
you know,
Yeah, I think that what they did was because there was a couple shows that they booked some. They tried to book some '90s bands, and they ran into some problems. A couple bands had to cancel a couple times. I think Vince Neil was supposed to play here like two times. He canceled both times. Also, Skid Row was supposed to play here twice. They canceled twice. So it's like, at least they got some dependability here, because the last thing anybody wants to do is have to come up and scrape around for a band to fill in for somebody, unless it was a total catastrophe or something. But I like the Downs. They put on a great series. The people that work there just go out of their way to make it a comfortable experience for everybody. And glad to see this series doing very well and that they got this lineup coming this year. So, yeah, any last thoughts on the series as a whole?
as long as the weather's good, it's gonna be a great series.
Hey, if it's bad, you go into the casino and wait it out and win some money.
I guess, yeah. I was just gambling there a couple of nights ago. I had no luck, so
Uh,
I can't do that.
all right. Well, thanks for coming aboard, talking some Batavia Downs here, and we'll see you guys out there. If you see us out there, stop and say hi, and be glad to meet you and talk to you.
Yeah, and
And
you might see Thurman Thomas out there. He's almost
yeah,
always at these shows. So and
yep.
and Thurman is not just a Buffalo Bill. He'll always stop and kind of hang out, and he owns a bar out there. He'll always take pictures of people. So
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll see you in the summer, folks.
see you in the
Stay
summer.